Hello, and welcome back to the Determined Student channel. This particular topic is something that I would think about time and time again, and the more I've thought about it, the more I realize that this has become more true, more prevalent in our day-to-day lives, and that is the importance of being your real self. We've all heard this from time to time. I've heard this when I was younger, when I was growing up in school, elementary school, middle school, that it's important to be your real self instead of trying to copy or mimic someone else, because there's no one else out there besides us or besides you. There hasn't been anyone else, and there's never going to be anyone else. So why try to be like someone else? It's important just to be yourself. The thing is that it's a pretty scary thing to do. It's been scary for me for a long time to embrace who I really am. I've, for the longest time, from what I can remember when I was younger, I've always been known as like an individual who has always done my own things. Granted, I was very reserved and quiet, and still am for the most part. I'm trying to work on that, and hopefully I'll get better. But I've always been an individual who didn't really go against the rules. I did follow the rules, but I kind of did it in my own way. How I expressed myself and how I interacted with people in the world. So in a sense, I would say that I have been myself. I was just too afraid to express more of it. I was very reserved. I didn't let people in about the things that I would think about or the things that I would do, because I was afraid of being rejected or afraid of how people would think of me if I were to embrace my true self and just let it out there. And I want to try to advocate towards others that so long as you're not hurting yourself, hurting other people, and you're not doing something that's like too alienating yourself from others, especially if your goal is to try to make friends, then honestly, I think it's okay to just to be yourself, especially in the modern age of the internet. You're going to find other people who are just as passionate about what your interests are or whatever you're passionate in as well. If you don't find somebody within your local group, it's not the end of the world. That's the beautiful thing about technology. You can find communities out there. There's subreddits out there. There are forums out there. There's places on social media where you can find other like-minded people or you can share your interests with. And I think that's a pretty cool thing. As long as you're not doing things that promote negative thoughts or actions, I don't see any problem with any of that stuff, especially if you're like building a community with other like-minded individuals. Honestly, the more I contemplated about this thought, the more I realized, and I'm not excluding myself in this, and if anything, I feel like I'm like the biggest example, is that we're all pretty eccentric individuals. Sometimes I would think even weird. Whatever we are interested in, be it if it's quote unquote normal or socially acceptable, I've come to realize that all those things are actually pretty downright weird. The more you think about it, like why are people so into this? Why is it socially acceptable for this to be okay and that's not to be okay? They're both equally weird in their own ways, in their own right. So if we're a bunch of individuals who are just being ourselves, but yet we're too afraid to fully express ourselves, then why worry about all that stuff? Even the people who are successful and the ones who are doing extremely well for themselves are pretty eccentric individuals too. They're pretty weird in their own right. So why, if it's okay for them to do that, why are we holding ourselves back? I think one of the key cornerstones of being happy is to just embrace ourselves, whatever that may be. Just follow your intuition and follow your gut, follow your interests, whatever that is. I think there's a reason for that. I think there's a grand purpose for why we are passionate for whatever it is, why we have a deep-rooted interest in whatever it is. Whatever those interests are, try to manifest it instead into being creative ideas, or to come up with your own concepts, or come up with your own stories, or come up with your way of innovating or your way of building a career or building a future out of it. If you have a deep interest in science and medicine, then perhaps you're going to be the one who can find the cures of the future. If you have a deep rooted interest in trains, maybe you'll find new innovations on how to make locomotives more accessible and more faster. Just embrace whatever it is, even with video games. Perhaps with video games, it'll teach you how to like think different, and through that form of thinking outside the box, you'll find a great latest innovation, and either in video game design or in life in general or whatever you set your sights on. So why be afraid? Especially in this day and age, like I can understand even back like way back then when I was younger, people used to be ridiculed all the time for having interest into like what was considered geeky stuff at the time, like Star Trek, Star Wars, being obsessed about video games or anime at the time. That was all considered not the norm. It was stuff that if you would like talk about it out loud, unless you were within your inner circle that accepted you for who you were. Dungeons and Dragons is another example. Unless you found like inner circles that accepted that, then you were okay. But if you mentioned it at the time publicly, people would think twice about you or would think less about you back then. But honestly, I think that stigma is slowly eroding. In this day and age, you can talk about all those things I listed, and now that's considered socially acceptable. So if there's other things that are out there that are not socially acceptable yet, again, as long as you're not hurting yourself or someone else in the process, then why not embrace it? Why not tell people about it? Because you're going to find others who are just as equally like-minded. I guarantee it. They're whatever your interests are. There's someone out there, more than someone. There's like hundreds, if not thousands, of people who share that same interest. You just go online, build up. If you don't see like a forum about it or a subreddit about it, then you can go make it. I guarantee you're gonna find people out there that share your interest. I just really think it's silly that we have to be so afraid about what other people think of us. Why don't we instead just embrace who we really are? There's a purpose and a reason for why we're like this. So let's just follow our inner desires of that and just instead embrace it, share with it with others, and hopefully find other like-minded people so that way we build a community and just live more meaningful lives and just be more happier. I've noticed that the people who tend to not hide of who they are, but instead they embrace it, then they tend to be happier. And it doesn't have to be just like wholesome stuff either. It could be like really weird and out there and bizarre things too. Again, if you're not hurting yourself or someone else in the process, then embrace all of it and embrace your inner weirdness. We're all weird, especially me. The more I open up with you guys and gals out there, you're going to realize that I'm a pretty eccentric individual too. We all are. So instead, let's just embrace it. Let's just embrace what we are, what we like, and what we enjoy. Just not be afraid. Just instead, just overcome that fear with bravery, and you can instead just be happier as a result, and find people. Instead of you having to find people to impress because you want them to like you, why not go out there and find people who actually share the similar interests with you and build genuine friendship, build genuine connections, instead of trying to pretend to be somebody that you're not, or trying to mimic someone that you're not. Because I'm going to guarantee you're not going to find happiness that way. You're just going to feel empty because you're impersonating or mimicking someone else instead. Let's not do that. Let's just try to be ourselves. There's a reason why we're like this. I don't have the answer for that. I don't know. I don't understand why we like what we like and why we enjoy what we enjoy. But why question it? Again, we're all weird. Even the people who are normal are also weird. They're weird for the things that they're passionate and interested in too, because honestly, it's all just weird. So just embrace it. I really think there's a reason for it. There's a purpose that we're all like this. Why one person is into one thing, why another person's into another thing. I don't have the answer for that, but I know there is a reason. Let's just embrace it instead. I think if you embrace it and you follow your intuition, it's almost always not going to steer you wrong. If you follow your gut, you follow your heart, and you think about it with your mind a little bit, but just act instead of thinking, I think it's going to get us in a much better place. And whatever your interests are, you're going to be able to contribute to the world in one way. And then other people, if they all embrace their inner weirdness and their inner interests and they put it out there, then you'll benefit as a result. Because whether if you believe this to be true or not, I like to personally believe that it is that we're all connected. This is one of the reasons why I am out here posting online and trying to like talk to individuals to be the best version of themselves, because I feel that if I can go out there and encourage and motivate people to be their true selves, and not only just their true selves, but to be their inner selves, and on top of that, build on it to be the best possible version of themselves, then not only would the world benefit as a whole because those individuals are happy and they can contribute to the world in a more positive way, then I'm also going to benefit from it too, be it from the views of the videos, or be it from their impacts and your guys' innovations will indirectly or directly affect me as a result. Perhaps somebody has invented like the next greatest tech and I'm going to go buy it because in some way I was able to influence them to be their quirky selves, and as a result they lived happier and they were able to contribute to society by building that new tech. Whatever it is, it could be a new cuisine, it could be something, anything. Anything that can benefit us in a positive way. I think if we all embrace our inner selves instead of hiding away, we can all benefit. When an individual is truly happy, another person's going to be happy as a result because it becomes infectious. So I think in some way, shape, or form that when I'm putting myself out there, I'm gonna get something out of it too, and it's not because of some selfish desire. It's just a result. It's just cause and effect. I want to be able to help people. There's a reason why I'm doing this. There's a reason why I feel strongly about wanting to reach out and help people. I want people to be the best versions of themselves, and one of the best ways to do that is just to be your quirky self, to be your weird self. Embrace it. I think it's a beautiful time to do this right now. We live in a world where we can find others online. So let's just do it. I'm going to learn from this as well. As mentioned before, I'm learning just as much as you are. So a lot of the lessons I'm sharing is just from personal experiences of what I think I can benefit. And whatever I think I can benefit, I'm almost certain others can benefit from it too. And I'm still learning. It's going to take a little while for me to get out of my shell too. I want to be able to embrace my inner weirdness too. So let's just do this together. And we'll just learn one step at a time. And I think we can all benefit from it. So just embrace your inner self. Don't pretend to be like someone else. Don't hide. Just be you. There's a reason why you were made this way. There's a reason why you're into the things that you're into. So just embrace it. All right, that's all I had to say. And as always, I hope that everyone else is doing great. Just know that you're loved and that I love you. And I hope that we can all grow and learn one day at a time and one step at a time. And that we all slowly get to our hopes and dreams, and that we get to be the best individuals that we are. And hopefully you will all get there, and hopefully I will too. Well, that's all I wanted to talk about today, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and take care.